All right. Good afternoon, people. My name is Martijn van den Berg. I'm an account manager at Ultimo. And for this afternoon, I'm your moderator. It is possible to ask questions on the right side of the screen. We will handle them after the session. And I would like to introduce Frank de Zoeten from Esri. And I will give him the controls over the PowerPoint. Frank, welcome. And
thank you.
See, I think you have the controls right now. So you can.
I do have the controls, yes.
Very good.
I switched to PowerPoint.
Very good.
So let's get started. Okay, my name is Frank de Zoeten. I'm from Esri Nederland, the Dutch distributor of Esri GIS software, which I will be talking about in a bit. The name of the presentation, or the title of the presentation, is ArcGIS Framework to Create and Integrate Digital Maintenance Twins. First, some introduction. My name is Frank de Zoeten. I'm a business developer at Esri Nederland, and I'm helping architecture, engineering, and construction companies to use the full potential of GIS. What does that mean? Is that a lot of organizations that do maintenance of infrastructure use Ultimo and ArcGIS, and my job is to help them to use those applications in conjunction with each other together. I'm employed by Esri, and Esri is located in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, Esri Nederland that is, but we are a global organization. The software is built in the United States, in Redlands, in California, and we make the world's most powerful GIS software. We serve about 350,000 people of organizations throughout the world, and Esri has a partner network of which Ultimo is a member by the building solutions or integrations with the Esri software. If we want to talk about infrastructure and asset management in practice, is what we see is roads, highways, rail, river, canals, ports, airports, and all kinds of industrial sites, is that we on a daily basis see questions like, is this the right assets? Where do I exactly have to go? How do I get there? And how do I record this asset in a proper way? Or how do I organize my work in the sense of work orders and jobs, not going for the second or the third or the fourth time to the same location? This is very inefficient. And one of the things we notice is that a lot of assets do not have an address or a zip code, like a building in a built-up area. And infrastructure asset management in practice, what we know is that every asset has a physical location on Earth. And that can be described in the way of coordinates, an XY or XYZ, or can be used in linear referencing. Linear referencing is starting at a certain point and say, okay, that much kilometers or hectometers from that point, there is an asset. Those systems are used in, for example, in rail or the pipeline industry, but also on the highways where you see the green signs alongside the roads. That's also linear referencing. And every asset on the Earth can be represented as a point, a line, a polygon, or a volume. And I made some small pictures of this. For example, in waterways, you have those water structures. How does that look like? Most of the asset owners keep record of those assets using location. And then that will end up in maps like this. For example, ProRail has the rail operator of the rail track network operator of the Netherlands. They keep very good track of what assets they do have, which have to be maintained. Same for Rijkswaterstaat, the highway network operator. You have to know what you want to maintain, and because it's very stretched, linear assets, a map is a very good way of organizing and collecting that information. But also the waterboards that keep us dry from the rivers and the sea, is by maintaining dikes and other structures. And what we see is that a lot of customers, Ultimo and Esri, have in common. And that's a good basis of integration. ArcGIS is the system in which you can keep that location information and manage that information. It's a GIS, a web services-based integrated system that can be completely in the cloud. Then we call it ArcGIS Online, which is a software as a service solution. We can have it on-premise by using our enterprise server applications. And we have desktop applications that do the heavy lifting and the analysis and the preparation of the data, which is called ArcGIS Pro. If we have it, then we can use all kinds of apps, web applications that can be easily configured, and mobile devices to collect and take the data outside into the field. And we have APIs to use the full potential of location in other applications. And that's the gateway to the integration with Ultimo. And in that integration, all kinds of data can be used. That can be a base map, just the topographic map of, for example, the Netherlands. It also can be an aerial photography or satellite imagery. And on top of that, we can project the data from the asset owners to be used in asset management. But it's also, okay, talk about that later. And then you see, okay, how can we use the power of location in asset management? We have some challenges there. People from the asset management systems, who have the decomposition, they have a certain hierarchy they use. They have an object tree versus how the GIS data is organized. As of the GIS data is organized in layers. For example, a layer of light poles, a layer of sewers, or a layer of the houses, a layer of signs. And in order to integrate that, we have to make some decisions. How can we, how will we communicate? How will we transfer data from the one system to the other system to be used to its full potential? How can we define the object mapping from, for example, Ultimo to what we call a feature class in ArcGIS? And what are the specific objects in GIS? How can we link them to the specific objects in Ultimo? But once you have done that, you have a lot of possibilities you can use. And this is one of the examples that Ultimo made based on those maps, based on those base maps, and based on the, in this case, polygon information of somewhere in Zwolle. Now you can have another view on the data, which is not hierarchical. Now this is spatial. It's how it's located in the real world. And you can use the map as an entrance to the Ultimo data. And this is what you all know, those info boxes. Use the map as an entrance. Another example of that is for example, this log somewhere in a canal. What do we know more about that? That's another way of identifying and finding the objects. But having the integration, other applications open up. For example, in this more detailed display, how many jobs are there open of maintenance to be performed at that specific bridge? You can see to the left the GIS overview of the outstanding objects, of outstanding jobs per object, or more on a generalized scale, more on the nationwide scale. Okay, what is the jobs? What is the performance currently of those jobs? What we have to do? Where do we have to do more maintenance or not? So there are a lot of options open up. This is what we see. You see here is the standard implementation, but using the REST API, we also see sometimes specific customer-based implementations of the integration based on the REST and the API. Another way that opens up is using the ArcGIS apps, the Esri apps that can be used for collection of data. For example, not only collecting points, but also collecting lines and polygons in the field, offline and online, or directing people to specific locations. By using standard patterns of integration, you will get access to everything Esri can provide in using that geographic data. For example, also the analysis of the data. Are there specific spatial patterns that appear in the data, in deterioration, for example, of the asphalt and of the highways or not? Or how can we use that data in order to report to the asset owner, okay, what's the actual status, for example, in what we call a story map. And what I have been depicting until now is a lot of 2D. What you see here is what we call a mesh, which is a combination of aerial photography and sometimes point clouds in order to make real 3D digital twin of, in this case, a city, but it can be every part of infrastructure. You see some traffic signs here, but the nice thing is this is just the visualization of it, and you can use the same patterns of integration as already are available in Ultimo. So is this the future? Maybe. Is the technology is already there to use this kind of information. It's all in the same platform, has the same patterns, and can be used in web applications. So what are the benefits? GIS, using the location, it's a real view on the data, the maintenance data that's used in Ultimo. You can use location for the data recording, the data collection, work order optimization, using some location to see what other work orders are in the vicinity of this one. Can we do it? Can we bundle it? Doing spatial analysis or showing real-time information from real-time feeds in the map and using Ultimo as that as well, or reporting, or seeing the data quality, for example, by integrating two applications or two data sets. Then you can see, okay, what's the quality of the data, what are the misses or not, and we can use it for stakeholder management. And with that, I want to conclude my story, and maybe there's some room for a question.
Thank you, Frank. Just on the 15-minute mark, very good. We don't have a lot of time for questions, so I will address one. Do I have to collect all the data myself?
No, not really. If you are an asset owner, you can also see if you have, for example, CAD drawings available. We have seen it on plants in the industrial plants. They do have a lot of CAD drawings, and it's quite easy to convert those CAD data to GIS and use it and work from there. It can be a gradual implementation as well.
Very good. Thank you very much. I think this session is over. Thank you for your presentation, Frank. All the other questions will be answered after the sessions. So,
thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you very much.